Hello and welcome to Insights from Elsewhere. My name is Cynthia Portugal and I'm Brazilian and I live in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm the Growth Director at Insight Platforms. Insight Platforms is an online media business that helps researchers find new tools, learn how to use them, and see what's coming next in the industry. We host a directory, we run conferences, and create content for insight professionals, like this podcast, for example. We created it to go beyond the big markets of North America and Western Europe. We're going to take a look at insight professionals from LATAM, Asia, Africa, and elsewhere, to find out how they are doing research, their experience with technology, what is unique in their regions, and how they influence back the headquarters or foreign clients to work in their regions too. Today, I have the pleasure to talk to Hyein Yoon. She is from Korea and she is the founder of HI Marketing, a boutique consultancy and market agency specialized in Korea and Japanese market entry for global brands everywhere. And she's based in Seoul and works across Korean, English, and Japanese markets. Welcome to Insights from Elsewhere, Hyein.
Thanks for having me. It's so great to have a conversation here with you.
Thank you. How did you get in the industry, Hyein? How did you start working with brands and had this idea of connecting the Korean and Japanese market with other markets?
So maybe if I say this, maybe you will be very surprised, but I started out marketing as a dental hygienist back then.
Wow. How?
But my dream was to become account executive in advertising company back in when I was in high school. But because of my score for top university was not really enough, and then I thought maybe I am not enough to pursue my dream, so I ended up just pursuing dental hygiene major. But I had a lot of curiosity in my life. I saw a really great opportunity, the marketing competition in Korea, Seoul. It was related to promote unknown place. It's about Book Street in Korea. Maybe you are not really familiar with this, but that was my very first project. And then at that time, I didn't know actually what market research is or marketing strategy is itself. And then what I first did was just digging into kind of like trend or keywords or topics, and then what conversation is going on with this audience itself. And then my intuition or gut for targeting audience is just simple. Like if you want to bring just bookworms, you're going to go to library or bookstore. That was just simple as that, right? So that's how, I got involved in marketing. And then afterwards, I quickly became a freelancer and they got more clients overseas or even the internal, this Korea side. And then most of the time they wanted to have Korea, Japan, and English, like 3 different markets at the same time. So once I had more revenue, I had to register my company officially back in 2022. And then that's how I was able to be a founder of my agency / consultancy. Yeah.
That's amazing. And tell me about what's unique about Korea and Japan. What are the challenges and opportunities in the region?
So most of the time, interestingly enough, they usually think global brands usually think both markets are just the same, very similar to each other. You are in Asia, like Korea and Japanese, they look very similar. Maybe they will offer this, similar way. Of course, in our history, Korea was colonized by Japan. So that means we are like sharing the culture itself. But once you go to the both market differently, you're going to realize that it's so much different. For example, Korea is like, we really value fast delivery. Everything should be really fast and quick. And if it's not really fast enough, we are not going to use it. And then we actually have a lot of platforms going on and even other companies that prioritize that services. And even more than that, we are really obsessed with this value for money products or services. So great care and then great quality, fast delivery, everything should be ticked. And then if you don't really prioritize everything possible, there is a possibility that you might lose opportunities there. In comparison, in Japan, they are not really fast moving, to be honest. They more about like value, the loyalty, and then the trust building, relationship building. Of course, we also prioritize relationship driven opportunities or decision, but I think the level of commitment is different. So even recently I went to Tokyo, and then it was a very boutique department store. And then there was a shocking moment, like the customer was just sitting on the chair, and then the staff was kneeling on the floor, like just suggesting the clothing option to the customer, like literally a king. And then
Wow.
it never happened in the Korean market like that. I was born and raised in Korea, like at least like 30 years here in Korea, and then I've never seen that kind of like a situation in Korea before. But when I went to the department store, it was so accessible, to be honest. And then like I was able to see a couple of steps just kneeling on the floor, like literally. And then that's
Wow.
like the hospitality is actually really different in a way. And also the level of loyalty and then the great care to the customer is different. But if you are not going to the market itself, you're not going to see how different we are each other. So that's why sometimes, yeah, as a great market research methodology, you have to really see and get what's going on.
And even I think analyzing results, right? When like you see results from similar but different markets, probably the type of answers you were going to give for research is different, right? Well, one might be more about something and the other, or for example, when I look into Latam, we have different, if you ask everyone, how satisfied are you in a 10-point scales? In Brazil, if people say 7, you know it's bad because it means, okay, they never say something that is lower than 6 because it's rude.
Oh.
But if you go to Argentina, 7 is quite good. It's real. It's average because they are not afraid of giving a 2 or a 1 or even a 0. So this kind of difference, and we are like literally neighbors, but this happens. So I think for market research, this would be a concern too, right?
Yeah. For example, I think Korean is we are not afraid to talk about the honest opinions if we are just alone and then we are not part of companies or a business meeting or something like that. So
Okay.
yeah, when we actually are part of some group role, and then we are just gonna actually use our mind reading skill, which is we call nunchi. Nunchi is actually registered in Oxford Dictionary, and then this is
Wow.
actually special skill that we know or we assume based on the context or their known behavior language itself. We can actually assume or predict what kind of thoughts they have or what kind of situation we are going to have. But sometimes it goes in the wrong way because we just assume based on the context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that kind of like a thing can happen in Korea, like the mind reading thing, and then based on the collectivism versus individualism, like playing a role in a different way. So if you're talking about the market research itself, you conduct this in a group setting versus individual setting. It can lead to the different scenario. So I think that's also important.
Yeah, I never heard about this. I will check it out at the Oxford
Yeah,
Dictionary
sure.
afterwards. Yeah.
This is a very unique one. Yeah, and if I want to add something more here, Korea and Japanese market, we do have a high context culture. That means like when you actually say something like or like the sentences itself, we will assume okay. This is what they said, so I'm just gonna agree with that, or we can actually decide based on that. But sometimes it doesn't mean like that. We do have a lot of context in that meeting. Maybe the translation was not really enough. So even if we say yes, like it doesn't mean like that. I see a lot of advertisement in Korea or Japan, like just talking about like direct translation itself, but sometimes it feels really off or in a different way. Like we can just click, but we don't know what this is about, to be honest. It's just
Wow.
this level, and then probably they just use AI or translation application maybe they did the best. But yeah, as a native, it's like it just didn't convert that way, right?
Yes, I completely agree with you. My family is Japanese. My husband is Japanese, my kids, and they understand that living in Brazil, people get confused between where you are from and your background and culture. And they tend to assume that everything is the same. But we make it a point that always say, no, Japanese is something, Korean is something, Chinese is something, because it's part of their identity too. So it's really important to differentiate and to understand there are major differences, like culturally and the way of living and even geographically.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, we have differences between regions in Brazil. Why not in two different countries? Doesn't matter if they are located in the same continent, but that's it. So yeah, I completely agree with you. Is there anything else like that you would say differentiate the two
Yeah,
countries?
actually, I have a good metaphor here or a good comparison. China versus Korea versus Japan, actually.
Okay, that's I love this.
Because in most of time, you will see those are very connected each other. Like China is here, Korea is here, and then Japan is here. And then in a funny way, like China is more proactive. Like they will just say what they feel about, like maybe they can just more speak up than other continents, to be honest. This is just based on probably my personal observation or just from media that I've been seeing a lot. And that in comparison, Korea is in the middle of somewhere like China and Japan. Maybe that's why we are kind of like sometimes proactive or we can speak up in some situations, but also at the same time, we also value the group as a situation. So if you are in a meeting and then if the supervisor or boss talks about like this and then you don't want to actually interrupt that situation, then you're just going to hide and then you're not going to like actually say that. That can happen a lot. Or even more than that, like if it goes to, let's say, 6 p.m. already and then the boss don't go home, you will just wait and sit there because you have this nunchi all the time.
Yeah.
And then when you actually go to Japan itself, they are like very strict than Korea or China itself. They are very organized. And then if it's about line for the bus, like very organized each other than just Korea itself. And then the kind of like a branding or the how I can say the civil rule itself is more stricter than Korea itself. So that is why they have more of a lack of individualism than Korea. And then it's gonna be very hard for them to open up and then talk about what they actually want or feel than other continents. So it's like a different level, like as you can.
Yeah.
And then once you go to each country, you're gonna actually see what I'm talking about, literally, to be honest.
We're planning a trip to both Korea and Japan to get to know it.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. And now, how would you say these countries like Japan and Korea, they differ from the Western markets, from the other markets? What do you often tell your clients about opportunities or challenges in the region?
If I can bring some kind of case studies from brands itself, there's a great example, IKEA Japan. And then IKEA Japan actually took 46 years to truly fit in Japanese market because in the beginning, they didn't do proper probably market research or just they wanted to expand based on the playbook itself. This is our recent article that we published. And then one of the observation we found was that they had to actually stop running because of their kind of like poor assumptions from their market playbook from the Western market. And then later when they actually came back and then, okay, we need to really thoroughly do everything together. So what they actually first need was going to the household everyone, like at least 100 households, to understand what's going on inside so that they can really see, okay, this product is actually fitting for this consumer or this type of location actually is fitting for this household. So what they actually did in the past, they actually located in these suburban areas, but after they came back, they decided to locate their location in the very urban area, like Shibuya or something like that. And then that's how we were able to get the sales. So when you actually think about 46 years, and
Wow,
then you
it's my
meet,
age.
like,
For me, it's incredible.
imagine you haven't done any proper market research or even the marketing strategies in general. Like you have to wait 46 years for your business. Like that's gonna be
Very persistent, right? Because I would have given up in 5 years or so.
maybe they saw some great opportunities there and then
Yeah,
maybe they saw the missing gaps.
it's
It's a,
amazing.
yeah, that's a kind of playbook that I usually talk about. There was a scenario like this. Are you gonna do that? So yeah, they can imagine, okay, this and that.
And what else do you talk about? What are the other opportunities and challenges for foreign companies to make strategies to grow in Japan and Korea?
For example, as I simply just mentioned about Korean market, we actually love dopamine, like trend, the new thing, but also Japanese consumer love the new things if it's related to really fun items or the eating stuff like candy or yeah, something like that. For example, we do have a Costco Korea or Costco Japan. So when we actually helped like Australian skincare brand tap into the Costco Korea, actually, we saw a great trend related to the ingredient itself when we actually dig deeper about the trend or keyword, yeah, all of that. And then what we found was Korean consumers actually go to Australia as a trip, and then they actually buy that lotion and then body cream, body shower as a gift. And then we can actually position our skincare product. You don't have to go to Australia. You can buy
Yeah.
one. And then we made a fun reel carrying your suitcase. I don't have to go to Australia. And then now it's available at Costco Korea or something like that. And they actually hit 1 million views for one single video. And that kind of like a trend actually you can make based on the keywords or relevant data or trend itself. Of course, sometimes it goes up and down and something like that. But I think it's so important to actually catch what kind of like a message or keyword you're going to put next to your brand name or product name so that once they actually roll out, they will remember your brand name or product name with that keyword. So that's how I usually do or our team usually do. And that's something that I can actually talk about as like an opportunity. And also recently we also have some trending related to some rice cake or cookie from Dubai. Maybe you also know about the cookie, right? The chocolate,
No, we have the chocolate here.
yeah,
The
Dubai
Dubai
chocolate
chocolate.
cookie, right? Ah,
No, no cookie.
no cookie?
Just the chocolate.
Ah, okay. So
Maybe because in Brazil, cookie is not strong.
that makes sense.
Yeah, so here it's just a very different and very indulgent chocolate bar.
So based on the market is like it's just local,
Probably.
probably like cookie or yes,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Well, so yeah, in Korea we had quite a bit trend related to the Dubai chocolate cookie, and then later another rice cake hit, and then that kind of like transition actually took like 1 year or something like this. So every year or every 6 months you can see the different trend, and then if you don't know about the single trend in Korea, like because this is very small country I guess compared to other Western markets. And yeah, if you don't know the trend itself, yeah, you're just an outsider. Like you are not a Korean, to be honest. So that's just
Yeah.
something you can remember, and then you can definitely utilize the trending itself, and then how to combine with your product or brand, and that's thing that you can do in the launching phase. Really
Yes.
important. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And thinking about people behavior, like consumer behavior, what is different?
Thinking behavior versus
No, like purchase behavior, for example. What is difference between the Japan and Korea and the Western markets?
Okay, purchase behavior. I think I need to think about it, but based on our blog or articles that we've been published so far, so Japanese market do have the loyalty program a lot. So when they want to actually target consumers better, and then you want to make them as a fan, I'm not going to say mandatory thing, but nice to have or must have
Yeah.
based on your target audience to actually foster the relationship. And then I think Costco is really great example. Costco Korea or Costco Japan. Costco Japan also have the membership, or even the worldwide is like they do have the membership, right? So if you really want to foster the relationship itself in Japan, the loyalty program is the key. With in comparison in Korea, I don't see the many like loyalty programs here like happening that a lot. Maybe sometimes you're gonna actually hit like a lot of trend, and then okay, this is 90% discount, like the urgency. That
Yeah.
can happen a lot, but in Japan, sometimes it doesn't work like that. They will also care about the great quality, but also great value for money itself. But in Korea, we also gonna care about that, but not really that much than Japan, probably from our perspective and an observation. And purchase behavior from, yeah, Korea itself. I also think that based on the target audience, it can be actually different. Yeah, like luxury sector
Yeah.
or, um, more of a like consumer sector that you have their very reasonable price. There are different layers. If I have to think about the example, maybe I can talk about that later. Yes.
And what are the key things that normally the other markets they get wrong about the region? Do you have any good stories that you can talk to us about that? You don't need to see the name to say the name of the companies.
Mm. You mean the global brands get wrong about this region?
Yes.
I have a good example. Yeah, I published one blog talking about what foreigners think versus what Korean or Japanese think, because that's really different perspective. For example, in Korea, we do have a K trend going on, like K food, K beauty, or like all of the K.
K-pop. My daughter is fanatic about K-pop. She even goes to K-pop classes here,
Amazing.
like dancing classes and stuff. So
Oh.
she loves it.
Yeah, so like K-pop or K-food, K-beauty, like everything is happening right now. I understand, but I when we were actually engaging with this e-commerce, one of the e-commerce company, they actually executed the pop-up brand in some Seoul area, but they thought that kind of like area is very good for attracting the Korean itself. But from my point of
Yeah.
view, when I actually went there, it was just full of foreigners. So
Tourists, like
yeah,
everyone
exactly.
from everywhere.
So if you really wanna target Korean itself, I would probably just go to more local area than just very popular tourist places. Maybe they were not able to visit Korea itself, so that's how they decided based on the agency's suggestion, right? But if you can actually look at least like at the map itself, you can actually see the road map or the thing. It's not going to be enough, but maybe you can get the sense of how that looks at least. And then I heard even we have traditional apartment style with compared to other Western markets, like very traditional thing. Foreigners think when you actually attach that kind of like heritage in your product, they assume we are gonna love it.
All right.
But
Yeah.
we see that like hundreds of times, like every single day. Are you gonna really love it based on just something that we actually see every day? I don't think that's gonna something new to us. So in Korea or Japan, like we do have a really great product or services already going on. And then if you really want to position yourself like in a unique way, because that's how we value other products outside of this market itself, right? Like in the beginning, it should be really different, to be honest. So instead of just thinking about, okay, we have to attach this heritage to our product,
Yeah.
you can just think about like how we can actually make this very unique, and then we can target this relevant target effectively with our global heritage first. And of course, you can localize marketing itself, but not about heritage that much, to be honest. That's not my suggestion. Yeah.
And thinking about the brands that are making it work, like foreign brands that enter the Japanese or Korean market and are working well, what did they do differently? What are the examples of brands that really captured the essence of the region?
Mm. So I think we do have really great examples, like the popular one, like McDonald's,
Yeah.
maybe like Costco or Starbucks. To be honest, Starbucks has some struggle situations recently because in Korea, you can actually find a lot of coffee shop block by block, to be honest. And then,
Sorry, what? How's it
yeah,
called?
we do have a lot of coffee shop in Korea
Yeah.
when you actually pass block by block. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, building by building things.
Yeah.
And so we do have a lot of options, and then with great quality itself. So sometimes if you get this coffee from Starbucks, like in the past, we probably value like the place itself, like great environment, and then the great quality or great service. But we can actually find elsewhere right now with more cheaper version. So that
Yeah.
was the thing that a startup Starbucks has to struggle in the past, like recently. I'm not too sure about the recent data, but it was 6 months ago, like that kind of
Okay.
happened.
Quite recent.
Yes. But I think in the beginning, most of the time, global brands use really a lot of advertisement and then get the attention because it's just so new and then different. And then afterwards, when you actually combine with this culture itself, like how we actually pay, for example, we have a local delivery app, we say people of delivery, like the name, the application translation, something like this.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually succeeded because they are the local delivery app, but um, it's just they actually understood how consumer actually buy, and then what kind of like option they want, and then how they want to actually choose the options, because in the delivery app, it's not going to be about just delivery with food, but also they do have options for this grocery shopping and also other options like any e-commerce things. And then it's gonna be becoming like Coupang, to be honest. I'm not too sure you are familiar with Coupang, but Coupang is a
Okay.
retailer. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, retailer, online retailer thing. Yeah, very big one.
Yeah.
And even foreigners can actually use that too. Compared to Coupang, oh, okay, this is too much information, but Coupang also
No, go ahead. I'm loving it. Go ahead.
Coupang also struggled this year because of the privacy thing happened, and then they had to really, okay, we are so sorry for this privacy leak, and then we are not gonna do any more that things again, and then yeah, still I think it's ongoing thing anyway. So that is why these people of delivery application gonna get the some of market share because
Yes.
right, like Coupang is going slow, and then so if you can actually understand the culture itself, because when Uber Eats actually tapped into Korea back then, and then they had to actually stop running the business within 2 years because they were just adding the option like fried chicken, pizza. It's like
Okay.
those kind of like a Western food options only. But in Korea, it's more about we do have a local food going on, and then and jjajangmyeon, like jokbal, like these just are Korean food things, and then they didn't include that options in the app. So I understand that, yeah, as a foreigner or as foreign company itself, it's gonna be a little bit tricky to understand the market itself. But if you can actually invest your money, you
Yes.
understand the culture market itself, you have the opportunity to actually succeed in these markets. Of course, there can be some other structure hierarchy system from the government. I know, yeah, all of those. But
Yeah.
if you can actually show us like why this product or why this service is so great for consumers, we're going to demand this is something that we need. You're going to find a way through it, right? So that's something that, yeah, everyone should think about.
Hey, that's amazing. Yeah. And what about technology? Because I think the stereotype of the region is a lot of tech and big phones, big cameras, everything. But talk to me about more than that, not just the tech itself, the hardware and stuff, but also about what are the platforms that work and why they work, how they work.
Um,
Communications, for example.
yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, if we compare these both markets like Korea, yeah, slash Japan. So Korea,
Yeah.
yeah, we do have a KakaoTalk.
Okay.
Yeah, this is similar to WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp.
Okay.
KakaoTalk, and then our search engine platform is Naver, Naver. And then the second search engine platform is Google for sure. If you are
Yeah.
just using Google for majority of time to understand the Korean market, you're missing like half of a month to be honest. So that is
Wow.
why you have to go to Naver, but Naver doesn't support you in English. I mean,
Okay.
so that's something that you're gonna struggle. But if you can hire some, I don't know, local market expert,
Translator or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
for that market research,
Okay.
yeah, you're gonna get some amount of relevant data for sure. In comparison, in Japan, there's a line application. Maybe you know because of your family, right?
Yeah.
Line application related to WhatsApp, yeah, similar that way. And the search engine is they have Google. Actually, in the past, they do have a kind of like a Yahoo only thing, but right now incorporate in a Google. So Yahoo Japan and Google is hosting the same. It's under the Google, yeah, officially
Yeah.
with the both space. So
Okay.
so if you can just search in Google and then use Yahoo Japan, that's just gonna be the one for Japanese market. So I think comparing these two things, maybe Korean is more complicated. I don't know. And then for social media, of course, we use YouTube, Instagram, and then everything. But what we found in Japan is they are kind of like using X, Twitter X, that really a
Yeah.
lot than other markets. I found that they are ranking as the second in Twitter, yeah, market itself. So they are the really very popular users in worldwide. That was,
Interesting.
yeah, that was amazing. And then YouTube is just a global thing, so everyone's actually use about it. And then if you in Korea, we don't really use Facebook that much, to be honest. We go to Naver
Yeah.
Cafe. Again, the search engine platform like Naver Cafe, and then we actually create a lot of groups and communities. And even we do have a Naver band and then Kakao open chat, like everything goes.
Yeah.
So if you actually research in base group, it's not going to work that way, to be honest. Like 90% of time, we are not using that properly. And then in Japan, like a line open chat, like the chat, yeah, ability there. And of course, the X ability to have the community itself. And also a lot of blog things with these search engine platforms. I think you can definitely find that too. And then if we are talking about the word communication, Slack is still new to us, to be honest. And
Yeah.
as I'm actually working with a lot of global companies, we do use Slack, but a lot of times in Korea or Japan, it's still new. Maybe if it's about local companies, they are not really familiar with that. Like they have to have some onboarding course, like something like that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
You said something interesting because you said that most of the culture will be available only in Korean, for example, because if you search Google, it will be just half of it, as you said. So, for example, the big large language models like Gemini or ChatGPT, all of those, are they representative of the culture in Korea? If I ask something about Korea, are they going to be like 100% representative or probably not?
maybe I cannot say like officially here, but more like
Okay.
yeah, I'm not the representative of those AIs, but
No,
when
yeah, I
yeah,
understand.
when I actually did a bit of market research with those AI tools, it was 60 or 70% of accuracy, I would say. And then I also heard that they can actually scrape the data from Naver at the same time, but I'm not too sure how accurate it is, to be honest. For example, Naver Cafe, we do have a real-time data going on, or we do have Naver keyword categories going on, and that it's gonna update every single time, like every second, to be honest. But I'm not too sure like how accurate those AI are for that time kind of thing for social listening, to be honest. Maybe it's going to be so tricky to scrape every data for every minute or something like that. But I do see that some of neighbor blog content is also listed in Google sometimes, but not 100%. So maybe that is
Okay.
why they can have a bit of data at the same time. Or I think we also double check or ask to the customer center, can you actually store the data from Naver? Because Naver
Yeah.
also have its AI going on, like with the search engine. So when you actually search
Oh,
about
okay.
it, they can actually answer with AI nowadays. I think it was, I forgot the exact name, but once you actually go to Naver, you can actually see the AI feature there.
Okay, that's nice. Do you have any other experience with AI platforms, AI things in the region?
You mean our work experience?
Yeah.
So this is interesting, but I actually found my AI automation tech company 2026 January, very recent one,
Okay.
so that
Yeah.
yeah, so that we can actually help public agency or businesses to actually expand their content marketing to overseas easily. And then we are actually discussing this opportunity with this Korean public agency right now. And then I'm having this co-founder CTO soon.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I've been exploring a lot with a lot of AI tools, like locally or even with overseas platforms. But to be honest, like GPT or Gemini or Claude, they are really like a top LLM, to be honest, even in Korea itself, because we do have a local AI tools going on. For example, like a legal part, or even for LLM, we do have other options. But once you actually purchase like the API usage or like the subscription itself, you don't want to separate two different things. So maybe that is why they are like really popular even for these markets. And then Korea is like really we are open to technology. So that is why open AI, let's get into the work and then we're gonna do this project with you. That's how we got more kind of project going on in this in Seoul, and then maybe we got more opportunities here than Japanese itself. I do see that AI makes things real easier in Korea. And then sometimes when we actually do this AI transformation in this our work, even the hiring situation has been changed because they would prefer director or just strategist, not about the entry level, because entry level can be replaced by AI nowadays. So this is
Oh.
kind of like a worldwide thing. I don't know, but yeah, you can see the kind of like transition going on. When I actually visited Japan recently, I also was able to see AI robot was welcoming me in the subway. And that
Okay.
was weird. And then the single household is one of the issues that they have. Also, we have that kind of issues in Korea, but Japan is more than that. So when I actually visited a lot of department store, there was an option for actually buying a doll for elderly people so that they can be monitored and then they can feel the sympathy or empathy from that robot itself. It was so cute, to be honest. And then I can
Oh.
imagine that kind of robot can be adapted in Korea itself because our birth rate is very becoming low, and then also we prefer to live alone at the same time. So yeah, I think it can happen too. So yeah, that was deep talk, to be honest.
No, that's amazing. That's what we are looking for, actually.
Okay then, yeah.
You just said that the Koreans prepare to live long and alone because the birth rates are declining. And how does it affect your life now, the Koreans' life, to build for longevity?
Longevity. So when you actually live alone with really low resources, right? If I can give you actually example, like when you actually go to department store or even just market itself, in the past there were a lack of options for a single household. If you want to purchase, let's say, side dishes, it's gonna be for family use. So it's gonna be very hard to purchase that as a single household, right? But nowadays it's actually becoming growing trend that they actually want to support single household a lot, and then government actually wants us to have some dates, and then they actually give some government program to support making those couples or something like that. This is a growing trend actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, even in Japan, I heard the government will officially give you money for dating apps. Isn't it?
Wow, that's amazing.
Right? They are helping, but for the longevity, I'm not too sure how I can answer this, to be honest. Um,
Do you have any habits or anything that you do during your life preparing to this future? It could be like by ingesting supplements or saving money or whatever.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Korean people will have the pension options or work out more or something like that. But if you are talking about my personal experience, yeah, I do work out. I do work out, and then like I try to eat the more healthier food, but maybe it's not enough. I don't think I'm really thinking about longevity that much, to be honest. Just I
You know, yeah.
yeah, live this life with more fully, yeah, full potential. And then that's how I'm doing right now, like helping clients and then also myself. And
I do go to the gym and stuff because I promised myself that I want to be an elder person that can tie her own shoes and stand up on my own. So that's my goal, at least for the future. Being able to do small things by myself. So I have to go to the gym every day.
I think that commitment is important, like working in this sector and then every day, sometimes 9 to even 10 p.m. Like I work like something like that because I'm building this
Yeah.
tech startup. Yeah, like commitment to that workout. Yeah, that's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. And thinking about AI again, do you think about the new trends and the new things that are coming up every day? What are the ones that you think are more hype than real benefit? And what are the ones that you don't see yourself living without now?
I think that there are some also tools that you can create consumer personas with these just AI tools, and then I think that's just really hype. To be honest, how are you going to create consumer persona with just AI data, like without actually looking to those all of the Naver cafes or line chat or even Facebook? Like the real data is there, and then actually like AI cannot scrape that real time data is that much. So I feel like that should be removed. I mean, you can get the help,
Okay.
you can get the help, but I think that's not really very exactly true. So maybe very harmful. Harmful, yes. What?
And is there anything that you see real potential and really useful for you? Changed something in the way you work and how you do things today?
So I think that most of the time I use for AI, like we can actually do this having the general knowledge for your project first, or even summarizing your materials, or even creating the PowerPoint with Gemini is so easy, like having these videos and images. And then for us to creating the presentation deck that actually speaks to client, visually. Actually, that was really helpful for us. Of course, we do have a designer, but if I want to make this very quickly, I would just go to Gemini and then ask, just put all of the copywriting here from Claude, and then ask, can you actually create the PowerPoint in Google slide version so that I can just convert that into PPT and then download right away. And then that was really helpful. And then for client side, I think there are a lot of opportunities for them to explore a lot of markets right now. Like you can get just general knowledge. And then we do have a equality in information nowadays, at least for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so excited for this year or even for the next 5 years for clients to explore another market. Like it could be about like Korea or Japan, or it could be about really different region. And then that accessibility will give them to test things like first with this general knowledge, but which I don't really recommend. But you can actually see how that works. And then if you fail, you're going to come to us, right?
That's great. Quick questions to wrap up. Talking about market research, what would be your favorite methodology to understand consumers?
That's a good question. So my favorite methodology is going to the market right away and then see little things like thoroughly. Even if I really hurt my feet, I don't care about it. I'm just gonna go there. And then what I normally do in the first day, I would probably RSVP for a couple of meetups or relevant conference meetings, or those kind of like meetups for me to understand what's going on in the market, because having that relevant ideas from those people first in that market is going to be really great insights for me to begin with. And then you can actually book a couple more tour, something like if you go to Japan, there is a Shinjuku tourist center, and then actually it's for free for having the tour in Shinjuku area, even in department store for 2 hours. And then that was really helpful for you to explore everything possible. So you can definitely you can definitely use those tourist centers if you are actually coming there for the first time, and then saving money for you too.
Amazing. So observing and being local, I think is the best way to research.
Ask questions as much as possible.
Wow. And thinking about the latest innovations and coolest trends, whatever, what is the coolest thing happening in the world right now? Thinking about marketing and your area of expertise.
Of course, we cannot forget to mention about AI, the LLM, or even just AI transformation is amazing. Of course, there is a dark side that there are some people who are not able to get hired and then suffering. But at the same time, like this is gonna make a lot of people to be more efficient, and it's gonna be really helpful for even your marketing, content creation, and then even brainstorming, to be honest. If you feel even lonely, you can ask, I'm lonely, why I'm feeling this way. And even there is an application like that. And even in Korea, we do have a fortune teller in a different way
Wow.
than other markets. And then the fortune teller application or platform is really hitting right now. Like it's just trending thing. Of course, in the past it was also trending, but with this AI help, it's becoming more than that. So I'm so excited to see how we can actually help the society better with this new technology. And then I think it's also relevant to ask to us, like, what's the important for human and then what's the important thing for AI, so that we can actually plan things accordingly and then strategizing everything first and then you use AI later.
Amazing. What would be your piece of advice for newcomers in marketing, doing what you do, like trying to connect Western countries and cultures with Japan and Korea?
So I would say, please just gather your brand name first, or product name first, or service names first, and then go to search engine or go to the local keyword tool like SEO tools to understand how many search volume you have or what kind of like relevant keywords you have. And then once you actually gather all of the data in Excel, you're going to see what consumer journey already exists. And then from there, you can actually start what kind of like a keyword you have to pick or message you have to deliver, or even positioning yourself without even computer research. You can get the initial data. And then with the data, of course, you can run A/B tests or running advertisement first. But if you can hire local marketer, at least like just for one person or something like that would be also amazing.
And what are the skills you think the newcomers need to have to go well in the industry, like trying to connect countries?
Kind of strategies.
Yeah, for example, marketing, global marketing or global market research. What are the skills you think these newcomers need to have?
Sorry, excuse?
Skills like what they need to do well, like, for example, curiosity is one type of skill, or knowing a lot about technology, or knowing a lot about marketing principles. What are the main things that they need to know that you would advise? Learn this first before going into the market.
Sorry, thanks for sharing.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, I think if you can actually understand the consumer behavior, probably you can even watch Netflix like a K drama or J drama. There are a lot of insights there. Of course, it's not really true sometimes, but most of the time, the media is actually based on the real life, and then they actually did a lot of research first, and then you can get the surface level of what markets are actually doing. And then if you can actually do also social listening, go to some community. Of course, you have to translate every time with this Google Chrome. Yeah, maybe if you can do that. But sometimes the translation is not really correct. But maybe you can copy everything there and then paste into your GPT or LLM to understand, okay, what conversation is going on for your category or product. That's going to be something that you can actually have as a planning, because without that kind of planning or even the channel strategy or positioning strategy, it's going to be very surface level, and then actually first impression lasts forever. And then if you want to come back later, it's going to take time more than that. So if you can have that kind of like a knowledge first, I think you are really well prepared than most brands, to be honest.
Thank you so much, Hyein. It was wonderful to learn so much from Korea and Japan and the markets there. Thank you for being here today. Today we talked to Hyein Yoon from Korea, and she talked about so many exciting things like the mind reading ability based on behavior language, or the differences between collective and individualism and how they work out societies. I loved when you talked about dopamine love as well and how it works out. So a lot to learn in this episode. I loved the fast pace in Korea versus the more traditional and hospitality careful Japan. So this is really interesting to understand difference and go deep in culture and stuff. Thank you so much, Hyein, for all your inputs here. And I would like to invite everyone to listen to the other episodes of the podcast. If you know anyone that would have great stories to tell about different cultures all over the world, let us know. Contact us in Inside Platforms and subscribe to Inside Platforms to receive the latest news in the industry every week directly into your email. So it's a pleasure talking to you, Hyein. I hope we catch up soon again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was such an amazing conversation.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.